Bobby Otwell, Gershman Mortgage, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about home insurance today. So I brought in somebody I've known for a long time, Ryan Armstrong, with the Rogersville Insurance Agency. So Ryan, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, Bob, thanks for having me.
How long have you been in insurance?
8 years I've had my license. I've been in the industry a little bit longer. So yeah, long enough to...
Yeah, longer than I've been in mortgage.
A little bit, so.
So he's a wealth of knowledge. Just wanted to bring him in today and talk a little bit about the insurance process and how it flows into the mortgage and kind of educate people about the insurance and what you can do to maybe set yourself apart from somebody else, and also how it involves itself into this.
We're located in Rogersville. We're licensed in the entire state of Missouri, so we do a lot of business here in Southwest Missouri and Lake of the Ozarks and Branson area as well, that we have a lot of clients that we've built over the years. So here's the thing that I always try and tell people about insurance is the policy is just the mechanism, right? So the actual policy itself, regardless of whose name is on the building, what the color of the logo is, the policy is about the same. Exactly. So regardless of where you go place to place, the importance of choosing someone to help you with the navigation of that policy is super important, especially as it pertains to mortgages. And this typically is the largest purchase that people will make in their lives. So being able to protect that purchase and doing it with someone who values you and your time and has expertise in the field, really not only will it protect it right initially, but in the long term, you'll actually end up saving money. So
right, and that's something that we can change in the process is your insurance premium, and that's something I also want to talk about. Is I can't change your interest rate very much. You know, it is going to be what it is, and not everybody does it matter on their debt to income on if they're going to qualify for a loan or not. But that's something you have flexibility with being an independent, that you have so many different companies that you can write with. If we do need to get a little tricky with premium, and we got to keep it under this, you're not if it fits in the box type of place, we'll take it, and if not, it's not. You have multiple options.
Obviously, I'm a little biased and proponent to working with like a local independent insurance agency. So ourselves in our office, we can write with 30 different companies. So we really try to be proactive, not only when working with lenders or real estate agents, but through the whole process with the client, keeping the overall picture in mind of how much we're actually spending on a monthly or an annual basis when it comes to the insurance side of things. Mm-hmm. So what we do, and it's probably a little different than other agencies, is I have a person on staff who cleans data. They mine data, they confirm data, and what that means to the insured, the client, the person sitting across from you at the table, is that you pay the right amount for your insurance premiums, right? So if there's information that's incorrect, you could be paying a lot more for the same policy, whereas if we just had the right information, it was rated properly the first time, then we're paying the correct amount and are confident in that.
All right, and as we were talking earlier, you said a lot of the times that incorrect data, it does result in people paying more often than not.
Right, yeah, there are certain things like, especially throughout the life of a policy, right? So we have handles and things in place where if premiums increase, we automatically shop for you with a different company, a different carrier, same coverages. And what we're facing a lot right now is updated with how much homes are costing to reconstruct. And what we deal with is the reconstruction side of things, because honestly, without insurance, the United States would look like a third world country. Right. So it's the share of risk, and if we're doing it properly and setting it up properly and monitoring it throughout the course of your home ownership, then you should be paying competitive rates the entire time. So there's other risk factors in place with the insurance side of things, and coming down to data again, it's broken down as far as like your zip code, right? So when my wife and I moved out of an apartment into a house that you helped us buy, appreciate that. Yep. Our auto insurance rates actually went down, right? Because we were in an apartment complex with 150 other units, and more exposure to other vehicles. Well, same zip code, different address in the same city, and our auto rates went down simply because there's not that same exposure. So
a lot of factors into that score.
There is.
Whether it's credit score, risk, claims.
Yeah, and we actually do have some carriers that don't rate on credit score. So there's a few of them out there that they use a lot of third-party data to really gather up information where they don't feel that they need to look at your credit information. However, just like anything else, right? The better your score is, the more on time you are with payments in other areas of your life, it reflects really positively on the insurance side of things. So typically the higher your score, the lower you're going to pay in insurance premiums.
Right. And that's great because, just as in I may switch loans for somebody who has a little bit lower credit score, we may use a different loan program. You may be able to use a carrier that doesn't rate off credit if we know that credit's an issue right now. That's the flexibility that you guys have over there to do something like that. So that's pretty neat.
Right. Yeah. And we know, like, if there are some challenges regarding credit and things, and we're trying to get qualified for a home, we know just kind of where to look based on the years we've been doing it, of what company would be a good risk, would be welcome to you as an insured. So there's a lot of different factors, and again, going back to the having options and choices. And I think a lot of times as a consumer, we want choices, and a lot of people don't understand that whenever they set up their home insurance within their escrow account. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier too. Like, people don't realize that the insurance policy is actually theirs. It's not just included in the monthly payment, right? It's a portion, but it overall belongs to you. So if you've had a policy in place for like 3 years, 5 years, and you haven't re-looked at it and checked with another company in a while,
stop.
Highly recommend. Yes. Highly recommend. Because if a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage, if you keep the same policy, there's a lot of things that change, right? And we've seen with the reconstruction of homes, the cost of homes, and if your policy limits are still the same as whenever you purchased your house,
you're gonna be in trouble.
You're in a claim happens, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
So just to update those things is good, but oftentimes you end up paying more in premium just by staying in the same place for so long.
And you do that probably even just with your own clients in your own agency.
I do it myself.
Every few years,
Yeah, so I wrote myself a home and auto last year, and my auto came up for renewal. The premium increased, so I just reshopped it, and I'm switching next month in June. So like that's just part of the process, that we have in place and access as an independent agency to be able to monitor those things. So
and that's top tier. I mean, you can't beat it. They can shop, change it, and you really not a whole lot goes into it on their side. I mean, you're doing that in the background for them most of the time.
Yeah, and so kind of how our process works is we will get a message sent to us on the agency side if we see a 10% or more increase year over year or policy period over policy period on a company. So that automatically triggers, say, hey, we notice your rates are increasing. We're gonna shop them for you. Let us know if anything's changed. We'll reach out with any questions, and then we just go to market and find the best combination of coverage and rate at that. Like, it's not all about price and premium, but it's important that people need to know that they don't have to sacrifice coverage in order to try and keep similar premium to what they've been experiencing. So just some how our process works, really.
Cool. Well, and one thing is that we do need to let people know is, it doesn't cost you anything to have your insurance looked at.
No.
If it doesn't cost you guys anything to give Ryan a phone call and say, hey, just check on my stuff. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is he's going to call you back and say, hey, your coverage looks great. Your premium's great. Maybe you can't beat it. Maybe you can. But they're at least going to have the peace of mind of, hey, I've checked this. It's where I'm at's competitive.
Yeah.
And then But like you said, if you've been there more than a few years, there's a good chance that you need to at least review it.
Right. Yeah. No, and we do that all the time. I've got a form I can send over. You answer about 8 questions, send it back to me. It's very unintrusive and easy to complete, and then we kind of go from there. And doesn't cost you anything. Really doesn't take that much time. I hear a lot that switching companies is difficult, and it definitely is a pain point. And part of our process is we help facilitate that for you. So we will reach out to current agent on your behalf with your permission and kind of help get everything moved over, send the invoices and bills to the proper mortgagee. That's super important to us as well, to make sure that premium does get paid and nothing changes. And we walk you through the escrow process too after, because you're going to get, if you change midterm, you're going to get a check back. And I get this all the time. What do I do with this check?
Yeah.
Right? So I canceled insurance. I've got $1,000 check. I mean, don't go shopping. Like, that's probably not the best idea. Golf clubs or shoes, whatever it is. Don't do that. Just sign it back over to your escrow account, deposit it back into those funds. So that way, at the next year, whenever they go through and balance that escrow account, it's not crazy out of whack. So yeah, a lot of times we will just help guys like, hey, you need to take this check. Who's your mortgage officer? Who's your lender? Who's your banker? Reach out to them. Let them know we're changing insurances. I'll email them, talk to them, and say, hey, that check's going to come. Stick it back in your escrow.
Well, and that's something that at closing, they sign document every time I hear, but it's pretty much saying, hey, if you're going to change the insurance, notify your lender first, because otherwise they're going to force place insurance on you. And but you sign how many forms that day, and you're not thinking about that. But that's super important. Notify. It is 100% fine to change at any time you want. Like you said, the borrower owns the policy, but notify your lender, because you do not want force placed insurance on your mortgage.
Yeah, that's force place is like a 4-letter word. Really,
exactly.
Honestly, the coverages on those are rough. The premiums are super expensive, and that's because they get moved into like a high risk pool. Right. So they go from the standard market to where we could go shop and actually buy insurance to be in a higher risk, and that at that point in time, they're going to make you pay for it because they have the right to do that, because they're partnered with you on that loan. So don't do that. Two things. Don't spend your escrow check on golf clubs or shoes or a concert, and don't get force placed insurance if you can highly avoid it.
There you go.
So.
If we didn't teach you guys anything today,
those are the two.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, if you guys have any other questions for us on insurance, mortgage, either one, I'm Bobby Otwell with Gershman Mortgage.
I'm Ryan Armstrong with the Rogersville Insurance Agency. If you're looking to find us, at Rogersville INS on all socials, RogersvilleINS.com. So
awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. And if you guys have anything, reach out and we will get back to you with some answers to your questions.